Once upon a time, in a realm where the skies were painted with the delicate brush strokes of twilight and the seas whispered tales of yore, there was a kingdom ruled by a benevolent king and queen. This kingdom, known as Celestia, was a land of wonder and magic where every creature, from the majestic dragons soaring high above the mountains to the tiny fairies dancing in the meadows, lived in harmony. In the heart of Celestia stood the Crystal Palace, a marvel of architecture that shimmered with the light of 1,000 suns. Its spires reached toward the heavens, and its walls were embedded with gems that held the essence of the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. The king and queen had a single child, a princess named Leora, whose laughter was like the melody of spring's first brook. Leora was cherished by all, her spirit as free as the wind, her heart as warm as the sun's embrace. On the eve of her 16th birthday, a grand celebration was planned. Guests from all corners of the realm were invited, including the elusive and wise Magi, the guardians of the ancient magic that flowed through Celestia. As the guests arrived, the palace buzzed with excitement. Banners of silk fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and sweet perfumes. Leora, adorned in a gown of sapphire blue that mirrored the sky at dusk, greeted each guest with grace and kindness. However, as the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, a shadow fell upon the celebration. A dark figure appeared at the palace gates, cloaked in robes that seemed to absorb the light around them. It was the enchantress, a being of immense power whose heart had grown cold and bitter. The enchantress had not been invited to the festivities, for her magic brought only sorrow and misfortune. Angered by this slight, she raised her hands, and a curse spilled from her lips, dark as the void. Before the moon rises to its zenith tonight, she proclaimed, Princess Leora shall prick her finger upon the spindle of a spinning wheel and fall into a slumber from which she cannot awaken. With a cruel laugh, the enchantress vanished, leaving behind a trail of chilling mist. The celebration turned to chaos as the king and queen rushed to their daughter's side, fear etched upon their faces. The Magi, wise in the ways of magic, stepped forward. Fear not, for the curse can be softened, one of them said, his voice a soothing balm to the troubled royals. Though we cannot undo the enchantress's spell, we can alter its course. Leora will indeed fall into a deep sleep, but she shall be awakened by true love's kiss. Relieved but still concerned, the king ordered every spinning wheel in the kingdom to be destroyed, hoping to thwart the curse. The Magi cast protective wards around Leora, and the palace was put on high alert as the moon began its ascent. Despite the precautions, as the moon reached its highest point in the sky, Leora, drawn by an unseen force, wandered into an abandoned tower of the palace. There she found a spinning wheel that had been overlooked, its spindle glinting in the moonlight. Mesmerized, Leora reached out, and as her finger touched the spindle, a sharp pain shot through her. She collapsed, her eyes closing, and a deep sleep enveloped her, just as the enchantress had foretold. The kingdom mourned, and Leora was placed in a crystal chamber at the heart of the palace, where she lay in a sleep as still as death, her chest rising and falling with the faintest of breaths. Years passed, and the story of the sleeping princess spread across the lands, becoming a tale of legend. Many princes tried to enter Celestia to break the curse, but the enchantress's magic was strong, and the kingdom became shrouded in an impenetrable mist, cutting it off from the world. It was during this time of despair that a young prince from a distant land heard the tale of Princess Leora. His name was Aiden, and his heart was filled with a courage and determination that the world had not seen in many an age. Prince Aiden embarked on a quest to find Celestia, guided by the stars and an ancient prophecy that spoke of a love that could transcend even the darkest magic. His journey was fraught with trials and tribulations, for the enchantress had laid many traps to deter the brave and the bold. But Aiden's resolve did not waver. He battled fierce beasts, crossed treacherous terrain, and solved riddles that would have confounded the wisest of sages. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, he arrived at the borders of Celestia, where the mist clung to the land like a suffocating blanket. With a deep breath, Aiden stepped into the mist, and it parted before him, recognizing the purity of his intent. He made his way to the Crystal Palace, its beauty a silent testament to the sorrow that lay within. Aiden entered the chamber where Leora slept, her beauty undiminished by the passage of time. He approached the crystal dais, and as he gazed upon her, he knew that he had found a love worth crossing worlds for. Leaning forward, Aiden kissed Leora gently on the lips, his heart beating in time with the hope that fluttered in his chest. And then, a miracle. Leora's eyes fluttered open, and the curse was broken. The kingdom of Celestia awoke from its long slumber, the mist dissipating like a bad dream. Joy and laughter returned to the land, and the king and queen wept tears of relief as they embraced their daughter and the brave prince who had saved her. The Magi, who had never lost faith, smiled at the fulfillment of the prophecy. The enchantress's curse was no more, her power waning in the face of true love's might. Prince Aidan and Princess Leora were wed in a ceremony that united not just their hearts, but the destiny of their kingdoms. Their love became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is light waiting to be found. And so, the kingdom of Celestia flourished once more, its story a fairy tale passed down through the ages, a testament to the power of love and the courage to seek it. As the years passed, the kingdom of Celestia thrived under the rule of King Aidan and Queen Leora. Their love, which had once broken the direst of curses, now enriched their land with prosperity and peace. The memory of the enchantress's spell became a distant shadow, a mere footnote in the kingdom's grand history. King Aidan and Queen Leora were blessed with 2 children, a son named Prince Kaelin and a daughter named Princess Seraphina. Each child was gifted with unique talents. Kaelin possessed a keen intellect and a brave heart, while Seraphina had the rare ability to communicate with the creatures of the forest and the skies. One day, as the royal siblings played in the gardens of the Crystal Palace, a peculiar thing happened. A raven, black as the night, landed on the marble balustrade, its eyes gleaming with an intelligence that was almost human. It cawed thrice, dropped a feather, and took to the skies once more. Princess Seraphina, curious about the raven's odd behavior, picked up the feather. As soon as her fingers brushed against its glossy surface, a vision filled her mind. She saw a hidden valley within Grimwood Forest, a place untouched by time, where a crystal-clear spring bubbled with the purest water. The vision faded, leaving Seraphina with a sense of urgency. She shared her experience with Kaelin, who, ever the strategist, suggested they seek the counsel of the Magi. The Magi listened intently to Seraphina's account and, after a moment of contemplation, revealed a prophecy that had been passed down through generations, known only to a few. In the heart of Grimwood, a spring of stars shall rise, to ward off a darkness that descends from the skies. A raven's feather shall point the way to where the children of Celestia must play their part in the fray. The Magi explained that the raven was a messenger, its feather a key to unlocking the mysteries of the hidden valley and the trials that awaited the royal siblings. The darkness mentioned in the prophecy was a threat not just to Celestia but to the entire realm. Determined to protect their kingdom and fulfill the prophecy, Kaelin and Seraphina embarked on a quest to find the hidden valley. Accompanied by a small band of the kingdom's most skilled warriors and guided by the raven's feather, they ventured into Grimwood Forest. The forest was a labyrinth of ancient trees and enigmatic paths. The deeper they traveled, the more the forest seemed to shift and change around them, as if alive and testing their resolve. After days of journeying, they arrived at the hidden valley, just as it had appeared in Seraphina's vision. The spring sparkled under the light of the setting sun, and the air was filled with a magic that made their skin tingle. As night fell, the stars reflected in the spring's waters began to swirl, creating a vortex that reached up to the heavens. From this celestial gate descended a creature of darkness, its form a swirling mass of shadows with eyes that burned like dying embers. The warriors readied their weapons, but Kaelin raised a hand, signaling them to wait. He stepped forward, his voice steady as he spoke ancient words of power, a language taught to him by the Magi for such a moment. The creature paused, its form coalescing into that of a tall, ethereal being, its features both beautiful and terrifying. It spoke in a voice that resonated with the sorrow of the stars. I am Serenus, a warden of the cosmos. A rift has formed in the fabric of the universe, and through it the Voidborn seek to consume your world. The spring is the seal that keeps the rift closed, but it weakens. Only the combined strength of your kingdom's magic and the purity of the celestial waters can mend it. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Kaelin and Seraphina pledged to aid Serenus. With the guidance of the celestial warden, they performed a ritual that combined the essence of the spring with the ancient magic of Celestia. The ritual was arduous, the forces involved immense and volatile. Kaelin's intellect and willpower, alongside Seraphina's connection to the living magic of the realm, became the fulcrum upon which the fate of their world balanced. As dawn broke, the ritual reached its crescendo. A beam of light shot forth from the spring, piercing the sky and sealing the rift. The Voidborn, creatures of unspeakable horror that had begun to seep through the tear in reality, were banished back to the abyss from which they came. Serenus, now a being of light once more, thanked the royal siblings for their bravery and sacrifice. As a token of gratitude, the celestial warden granted them a boon, the knowledge to strengthen the seals and protect their world from future threats. The kingdom of Celestia celebrated the return of their prince and princess, their hearts filled with pride and joy. The tale of their bravery spread across the realm, a story of hope and unity in the face of darkness. King Aidan and Queen Leora watched their children grow into wise and powerful rulers who led Celestia into an era of enlightenment and discovery, forever vigilant against the shadows that lurked beyond the stars. And so, the legacy of Celestia continued, a beacon of light in a vast and mysterious universe, its story a fairy tale that would inspire generations to come.